I think technical analysis is interesting, but do I put all my knowledge and insight into just the technicals? No, actually, in fact, I don't think it's as important as many other factors. I think psychology and mentality is even more important, which most people don't focus on. And in fact, probably the next biggest thing I would say is money management, which is also even more important than the technicals. However, why do I have a channel specifically for technicals? Well, it's what people search for. That's what people are interested in. It's what people want. Now, just because you want it doesn't mean you need it or you need as much of it. So remember, technical analysis, it's there as a guide and a tool. And there's a lot of things with technicals, and it also gets a bad reputation because what happens is that people put their whole focus in. They're trying to say, hey, well, technical analysis, if it works, it should work 100% of the time and have a 100% success rate. But that's not the way that it works and operates. It's there to kind of give you a guide and insight and give you a little bit of a roadmap in terms of directions. However, sometimes the road is blocked and sometimes the road, you got to do a detour or shift lanes and, do a pit stop to refuel. So even though it gives you a general guideline, there are things where you have to make some changes. And this is the same thing when we see some stuff like false breakouts, where you see a breakout, however, then things continue to reverse. So if we take a look at some of these chart examples, and you're starting to look at, let's say, NVIDIA, and you're looking for a breakout, now you might say, hey, this was starting to break out, especially at the time that you were looking at it. And if we go to about 130-minute, here was the high here, and then we're looking and zooming into the price. You can see that, hey, at this spot, if you entered too quick, too fast, too soon, you would have kind of a false breakout. So that's why it's important to give it maybe a little bit more room, you could say, or a little digestion period, or wait till a second day. Whatever the case is, there's not 100% accuracy. And remember, with support and resistance, there's also kind of a range. You're not really looking at an exact price point. You're looking for a subtle range for things to break. And with larger stocks, you may actually decide, hey, I'm actually looking at something more like this thick for it to break and clear, because that way it has a little bit of a buffer zone. So the point I'm trying to make here is when we look at technicals, if you put too much effort or too much emphasis into the technical analysis, then really what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for disappointment because nothing works 100% of the time. You get a lot of false signals. There's a lot of false breakouts, and technical analysis gets a bad reputation because of that. And what you need to do is look and recognize that even though you might not be accurate a lot of the times, or even you might just be accurate only some of the times, when you actually do get a nice move and you are accurate, let's just look at a simple breakout point, and you do get that run that actually does work well, that could actually make your month or year in terms of earnings. So even though here we have certain movements, breakout, get in, get out, get in, get out, you can see some of them are not as fun or favorable. So looking at some of these movements right here where you could say, hey, I'm just getting in when the moving average breaks, get in and get out, that move was not that fun. Whereas other moves, again, might be a little more fun. So these two moves, not as fun, not as interesting. But then you might have other breakouts. Let's bring it back here where you had a get in and maybe let it ride all the way till you get out over there. So anyways, remember, just like a weatherman, short answer, how accurate is the meteorologist? 7-day forecast can accurately predict the weather about 80% of the time, but a 5-day forecast predict the weather approximately 90% of the time. However, 10-day or longer is only right about half the time. So in similar, technical analysis is kind of like this, like predicting the weather. If you're looking at, hey, the short term, you might be able to predict it a little bit better. But the longer term you go, there's some variables that could happen. There's some catastrophic news events that could come out, political things and war and all these things that could break out. So it's important to recognize that technical analysis is not 100% foolproof. It's just there to give you some ideas and indication of where's the trend going, how far a stock is stretched. Is it stretched to the upside or the downside? And in that case, you could make a better idea, understanding, and decision about position managing capital, strategies you want to deploy, and what areas you want to get into. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Truly appreciate it. Feel free to grab some freebies on the website, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.